Hello and welcome back to the Fast Break here on the Variety Sports Network. I'm your host, Shoot to Rock, and it is officially March, arguably the best month of hoops the whole year. So I'm excited to talk some hoops. We got NBA heating up, second half really here in full swing now. No more All-Star break. Teams still come back from it. Like, no, everyone's playing every day kind of thing. Like we're full go into the chase for the postseason, for seeding. A lot of games that matter. And then on the college side, it's March Madness. It's started. The ASUN tournament has already started. We posted, the bracket on the Twitter account for y'all to drop your picks. I'm gonna keep doing that. Especially when these tournaments start. Make sure to post my picks. I'm watching it right now. It looks like Queens just upset Florida Gulf Coast. I believe that's the third straight year they've knocked Florida Gulf Coast or something like that out of the tournament in the ASUN. So ASUN's already started. I believe Sun Belt starts tomorrow. I know Missouri Valley starts on Thursday. That's a big one. I'm excited for that. For me, is like really the one when I start tuning into conference tournaments. Granted, a little biased, do have my sister that goes to Bradley was at their game against Northern Iowa yesterday. Good win for the Braves there. So yeah, we're full go on March Madness conference tournaments, starting this week, really all the major ones next week. And then, a week from Sunday, it's Selection Sunday. 2 weeks from now, 2 shows from now, this exact point right now, I'm going to have a bracket that I'm breaking down for y'all. That's crazy to think just how fast the college basketball season goes. But like I said, then after that, then it's, final week of the NBA regular season, we got NBA playoffs. And, while nothing's going to top March Madness. March Madness is the best postseason in all sports. NBA playoffs, they're up there as well. They're a fun time, 7-game series, really, really competitive series. So I'm excited to see how those turn out. So to start today, we're going to be talking about the Spurs once again. A team that probably won't be making the playoffs this year, but a team that, hopefully in years to come will be. But they were going up against a team on Sunday that will be in the playoffs, will be the 1 seed. See if, they can, this is finally their year. The Thunder and the Spurs, man. Thunder knock off the Spurs, 146-132. But really the storyline of this game was there was a fight. A fight broke out. So it was Justin Champagnie. I'm sorry, let me make sure I had the right one. No, I'm sorry, Julian Champagnie. My apologies. He had Kendrick Williams all up in his grill in the third quarter. It was a close game. This game was a little back and forth. It was pretty high scoring. It was a high scoring affair. It was 41-38 at the end of the first quarter. That's kind of crazy. At halftime, it was, what would that be? 72 to 77. So like a game in the 70s at halftime. Crazy high scoring game. So in the third quarter, Kendrick Williams decided, all right, we got to start playing some defense. I'm gonna get all up in Champagnie's grill here. And all of us know what happens. You're on offense, you got a guy in your grill. I had this happening in my men's league last night. There's defender, they want to get all up in there. They really want to, make you feel that pressure. And that's what Kendrick Williams was doing. He was doing a good job, playing some good defense. But when you're offensively, you want to get that guy off you. So you might do a rip through, or a little pivot, a little jab, something to get the guy off. So that's exactly what Julian Champagnie does a rip through. But he catches Kendrick Williams with an elbow on that rip through, which, like I said, when a guy's up in your grill, tends to happen. Well, Kendrick Williams did not like that. He was not a fan. And so the two of them are going at it. No punches were thrown in this, but these two teams, man, they don't like each other. The NBA has been kind of trying to push this rivalry. It is kind of rivalry week here for the major conference. We got Duke, UNC, Alabama, Auburn this weekend. We got some rivalry games. And, that the NBA is trying to push this rivalry. I can see it. I can see it. The Chet Wemby rivalry. Obviously, neither of them playing in this game. But these are two teams that I could see, not liking each other in the future here. And so they take exception. They're kind of grabbing each other, going back and forth. This is kind of happening. The play still going on. Jeremy Sohan throws down a dunk, but then instantly you just see him run over. And you're like, what's going on? And then you see that they're duking it out. It's like a whole big scuffle. And Jeremy Sohan and Lou Dort start getting involved. They start kind of, same thing, just a lot of grabbing and pulling, people getting close, getting hostile. Excuse me. And it ends up in, like I said, no punches were thrown. It was just kind of a lot of grabbing and yelling, But Jeremy Sohan got attacked, but then Lou Dort, Kendrick Williams, and Julian Champagny were all thrown out of the game. Got techs thrown out of the game. So we'll see. I don't believe there's been any kind of any sort of suspensions handed down yet. I mean, let me look. The Thunder are playing right now. The Spurs don't play again until Tuesday. Let me see if any of those guys are missing for the Thunder tonight while I'm looking through here. I don't believe they are, but so yeah, it was a big scuffle, and like I said, these are two teams, man. I could see down the road there definitely being a rivalry here. Yeah, no, both these guys are playing tonight, so I guess the NBA said the texts were good enough since there's no punches thrown, and that was kind of it. Then we're gonna go about our day, but yeah, man, really just hostile game. You know, two teams that I guess don't like each other. Maybe it's just one play where things get out of order, things get out of hand. So that was the big storyline from that game. But really, what needs to be talked about, Jalen Williams was hooping. Career high, 41 points for him in the victory, 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. He was stroking it. He was playing really well. And that's a guy where they're going to need him to have a really big postseason. OKC does. And he has been playing well this year. Borderline could have been an all-star, and they need him to play well. And yesterday he did. He paired well with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The star SGA, always gonna play well. He had 31 points in the victory, as well as 8 assists. So good game for him. Isaiah Hartenstein, he was good on the boards. 11 rebounds for him, 10 points, a nice little double. And then Cason Wallace too. He had 19 points, 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. So all around, good showing for a lot of guys on OKC. Aaron Wiggins even contributed, 17 off the bench. So he's playing all these guys playing very well for OKC. I mean, that's why they are the number 1 seed. Also, I'm tripping. I don't know why I said Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams was an all-star. I knew that was wrong the second I said it. So my apologies there. But yeah, he was an all-star this year. Sorry, that's what I'm saying. The all-star game, such a joke. So unforgettable. I forgot. But we're not going there. We're being positive. We're being positive on this show. So that's another thing. We can get to it later. But, LeBron kind of saying the NBA media, and this has been a very popular topic lately. So that's why I do kind of touch on it a little bit. A lot of negativity. So I don't want to be negative on this show. I'm not going to be negative shit on the All-Star game today. That's not what I'm going to do today. On the Spurs side, it was a good game for De'Aaron Fox. He had 20 points. Good game for him. But the real star of the show was Stephon Castle, member of the dunk contest. Going back to All-Star Weekend, I do remember that. 32 points for him in the victory, 4 10 from 3. So, good shooting game for him. 8 rebounds as well. So, definitely a bright spot off the bench. He got 32 minutes, got a lot of run. I mean, that's what happens when when your guards get thrown on ground. Champagny only had 11 minutes. I don't know if he's going to play that much more. The Spurs, they play a lot of guys here. Granted, some of these guys is just 2 minutes at the end of the game because it was a blowout at the end. But yeah, so OKC picks up a good win. They win the season series 2-1 against the Spurs. Like I said, this is one where I really hope in years to come that it becomes a bit of a rivalry, that we get some more high intensity games between these two teams. I'd love to see it. Let me know down in the comments. Do you think this would be a good rivalry? Is this one you'd be interested in? See these teams in a playoff series. I mean, I love to see it. Obviously it's not going to happen this year. I mean, I think that would have been kind of the NBA's dream for the Spurs. Maybe they get in the playoffs this year. Spurs OKC first round, but not going to get it. But that's okay. I think in years to come, when Wembanyama is healthy, when Chet's healthy, I think these two teams could have some really good duels. And then I'm gonna go reverse here. I'm gonna start Sunday and then touch on Saturday and then touch on Friday and NBA results, because there was some more scrappiness in this one. The Timberwolves knock off the Suns 116-98, and Edwards 44 points for him. Really big game, but he's trying to showboat a little bit down the stretch there, end of the game. The game was already over. His running mate Dante DiVincenzo, who had 24 points as well, very good game from him. second leading scorer for the Wolves. Tried to do a little bounce pass off the floor, some street ball type stuff. It would have been cool though. And Ant was going up, gonna throw it down off this bounce pass off the floor, and then Brad Beal gives him a shove, shoves Ant midair. Very dangerous play. Very dangerous play. Again, I will give Beal credit and why I think he probably wasn't ejected from the game for this. He instantly went to help Ant up once it happened, but Ant was not happy. Was not happy that there's no foul called originally. Granted, upon review, they did see that there was a foul called, which was the right play, right call there. But yeah, you could tell, man. It was clearly a frustration foul from Beal. I mean, he, like I said, it was a little bit showboaty, but if you don't like it, don't be down that many points on your home floor. That's my kind of take. Don't let it happen. Keep playing defense. They were just kind of letting the Timberwolves go on the fast break there. And all right, we're up big. We're gonna mess around a little bit. I don't think you can, blame them for that. I think that's a very normal thing to do. But the Suns didn't like it. I mean, the Suns are out of the playoffs right now. They're 5 games under 500. They're 4 games out of a playoff spot. They're probably gonna miss the playoffs this year. And I'm seeing rumblings that they're going to look to trade Kevin Durant in the offseason. So let me know in the chat here, if whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on X, would you trade Kevin Durant this offseason? Personally, I think I would. Just because, I mean, let's be honest. Kevin Durant is not the most loyal player. He's not the kind of guy that he's going to stick around with the franchise forever. I mean, we saw it when he went to Golden State. Then clearly, at the end of Golden State, him and Draymond didn't get along. I mean, clearly that he didn't want to go back there this trade deadline. Then goes to Brooklyn. Things are kind of iffy there. Originally kind of seemed like he was going to get traded from Brooklyn. They couldn't work anything out. They're like, all right, we'll make it work. But then all of a sudden, Kyrie gets traded to Dallas. So then that and KD's like, oh, I'm out of here. I'm not playing without Kyrie. That was just a failed experiment. They tried to get Harden there too. I think was what the 3 of them together, KD, Kyrie, and Harden played 15 games, if that. It might have been a little bit more, a little bit less. I can't remember the exact number, but it was something where they did not play much together. It was one of those just on paper it should have worked. And I mean, heck, if Kevin Durant wore a half size smaller shoes, he wouldn't have stepped on the line against the Bucks in Game 7. They win the game rather than going to overtime. And who knows? I mean, the Bucks won the finals that year, so maybe Kevin Durant and the Nets would have won it instead. Granted, no Kyrie in that series. James Harden was playing a little bit hurt, but yeah. So it didn't work in Brooklyn, and now Phoenix. Once again, man, he's just I'm not sure I can put this all on Kevin Durant, but they clearly once again tried to form a super team with Kevin Durant. He just always, it seems now, once he's left OKC, and I mean, granted, in OKC he had Russ. But that at least they were both drafted by OKC. It wasn't him requesting for guys to be traded to his team, stuff like that. But once again, now it just looks like another, big 3 with Kevin Durant, and it's just not gonna work. So honestly, I don't really know who. I shouldn't say I don't know who would want him. I mean, it's Kevin Durant. It's one of the greatest players, to ever play the game. One arguably, the best pure scorer of all time. You can make a case for it. I mean, let me know what your pick would be. But I think he's up there. He's got to be up there. But just how much money he's making for his age, are you willing to take a risk? I don't think you can win a championship with Kevin Durant as your number 1 player at this point. I think he'd have to kind of be the Robin to someone's Batman. But honestly, just frustrating for Phoenix. I gotta say. I mean, it's clear. The trade for Beal isn't really working out, especially now that he's got that no trade clause where it's going to be very hard to move him. So, yeah, just from that aspect, the Suns, they really tried to go all in, and they came close. They made a final that year against Milwaukee. They came close. Granted, that was just Booker and Chris Paul. But it was a team that you thought was going to get back. You thought was at least going to get back to a Western Conference Finals. The fact they haven't is kind of crazy to me. I mean, they got skunked in Game 7 on their home floor by Dallas the following year. I'm trying to remember their other postseason results. I mean, I don't think they've been close. I mean, they got swept last year, and they were the lower seed. But they got swept last year by the same Timberwolves team. I mean, the Timberwolves just owned Phoenix, it seems like. I mean, let me look here. It does. Maybe I could be wrong. No, I'm not wrong. They swept them in the playoffs last year, and they now lead the season series 3-0. They play one more time end of March, but Timberwolves have just owned the Suns. They've definitely kind of surpassed Phoenix in the hierarchy of Western Conference teams. So the Suns got to figure something out. And it's not even like Minnesota's having a great year. Let's be honest. They made the conference finals last year, but them too kind of got hot, like similar to how Dallas upset Phoenix in 2022 and then lost to Golden State in the conference finals. Last year I'd say Minnesota upset Denver. Like Denver was like up 20 in game 7 and they blew that game. So Denver, or Minnesota upsets Denver, then loses to Dallas. So, to go from that to now, I believe the T-Wolves are the 9 seed. Yeah, or no, they are the 8 now. They did surpass the Suns, or not the Suns. I'm sorry, the Kings. But as of that game last night, I remember they were 9th, which that too is just kind of like crazy to me to like think on, like because now there's the play-in, so you don't really think about it. Where it's like, all right, they're gonna be a play-in team. I mean, yes, not locked in, but they got to be feeling pretty good. Excuse me. But the fact that now, just because all these teams get in, like Minnesota, like might like in a normal year, if there was no play-in, I guess not normal year, but like pre-play-in, where if it was just like the top 8 seeds, like Minnesota going from the Western Conference Final to missing the playoffs would be a very like disappointing season. But now, since it's like, all right, they'll most likely be a play-in team, maybe they get hot kind of thing. It's not really talked about. So yeah, it's not like Minnesota's having a great year by any means, but they just continue to own Phoenix. That's how bad Phoenix has been. I thought, maybe Dallas would be the team to fall off once they traded, Luka, just because the bad vibes around them. But it looks like it's kind of going to be Phoenix as the team left out. I mean, 2-8 in their last 10. That's not good. They're not playing good ball at all. I mean, it's not like any of these teams kind of down here in the playoffs are playing the greatest ball. I mean, Golden State's playing pretty well right now, 7-3 of their last 10. Steph with a dunk. We'll talk about that in a second here. But yeah, so Phoenix, man, just really, really disappointing year for them. And I just think they're gonna miss the playoffs, and that's not something heading into the year that you would have thought would have been the case. We got a comment from my guy Jay Edwards VSN here. Shooter, what's up, my man? Appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, guys, do not be afraid. Drop your takes. I love interacting with the chat. So you guys, if you disagree with my take, you agree with my take, feel free to let me know in the chat, whether on YouTube, X, whatever. So love interacting with y'all. All right, so let's move on here to Saturday. Saturday, we just really had like one pretty notable game. Granted, Spurs Grizzlies, that was a good one. Spurs with a good win there. What was the other one? Bucks Mavericks. Bucks got the win. That was one of my games to watch of the weekend. But like I mentioned, Steph dunked for the first time since 2019. But the Warriors lost. 126 to 119 to the 76ers. Steph with 29 points, like I mentioned, 5 of 12 from 3. Did have 13 assists. I mean, the real killer in that game, though, was on the OKC, or not the OKC, Philly side. Quentin Grimes, career high 44 points. Gotta show him some love. To get Philly this win. Two teams end up splitting the season series, both winning on their home floor. Like I kind of talked about last week, and then it was confirmed official. Joel Embiid's out for the year. So the Sixers don't have any more Joel Embiid. Paul George is taking a break from podcasting. So let's go. Less comp for the fast break here. No more podcast P to deal with. Says it's so you can focus on winning a championship. Well, I don't know if Paul George maybe that's why he's taking a break from podcasting. So he has more time to like look at the standings and realize, oh wait, we're nowhere close to winning a championship. Maybe that's why he's taking the break. He had 17 in the game. Kelly Oubre Jr. had 20 points as well, second leading scorer, and then Gershon Yabusele, the Olympic star, had 18 off the bench as well. So Philly's really gonna need these guys to kind of step up here with Embiid's absence. I mean, Maxey, like, he only had 5 points. Played 40 minutes, only had 5 points. Like, terrible shooting game from him. The fact that they still got the win with all these other guys playing the way they have, very impressive. So, good win there for Philly. Golden State, I mean, tough loss. Like I said, they have been playing better recently, though. I mean, 7-3 in their last 10, like I mentioned. Steph had 56, like, amazing game in the win on Thursday against the Magic. So, hoping, maybe you could repeat it here. Granted, give the people a show, threw down a dunk. It's kind of crazy that this is as big of a talking point as it is. But yeah, Steph threw down a dunk. He said it's probably the last one of his career. He's getting up there, so respected. But yeah, so good win for Philly. That's what I want to touch on here. They're gonna have, need some of these guys to step up if they are gonna go on a run. Let's look at it here. I mean, they are still okay. Now they're back in 11. They repassed Brooklyn, so they're now 2 games behind the Bulls. So Philly is not completely out of it. They could make the play-in. Usually, I'd say just from the vibes, they're done. But because, like I said, the Bulls are not trying. Bulls are not trying to be a play-in team for once. Thank the Lord. I gotta think someone catches the Bulls, whether it's Philly, whether it's Brooklyn. So good win for the Sixers. Put them kind of back in the mix here a little bit. So then let's go on to Friday. This was kind of the big surprise of the weekend to me. So like I said, I did a top 5 games to watch this weekend. I'm gonna keep trying to do that. That was fun. It was kind of good for me to kind of be like, hey, what are the big games to watch this weekend? But also I think good for you guys. Maybe draw some attention to maybe some more games you didn't watch. Granted, I did have a lot of the national TV games on there, but also had a couple League Pass games as well. So if you got League Pass, could check those out, or there's websites nowadays you can find a way to watch pretty much any game. And that is one thing I actually do want to point out quick. A bit of a tangent here. ESPN does a really good job like having NBA games on. I mean, we had doubleheader Friday. You had the Thursday or the Saturday night primetime game. Granted, not the greatest game, but ended up being a good game with Philly and Golden State. And then Sunday. Sorry, I'm getting my days confused. Sunday, ABC, you got Celtics Nuggets, potential finals preview. That was a good game. Could touch on that one a little bit as well. And then you had a doubleheader to end the night on Sunday with that Spurs OKC game, and then Minnesota Phoenix that I was touching on. So I want to shout them out. They do a really good job, and that's why it drives me crazy. I know basketball show, but I did see the Variety Sports, our official Twitter, was commenting on this a little bit. And then I was beefing with some guy on Twitter about this, so it was just making me mad. The end, I see what the NBA, ESPN does with the NBA, and it makes me want that with the NHL so bad, and college basketball, just better planning, better coverage, and they just don't have it. And that's why I get mad where it's ESPN, most of their national NHL games, national games, are on Hulu. That's not national. That's behind a paywall. And the Stadium Series on Saturday was just horribly covered. And that was a whole fiasco with the stream of Auburn, Kentucky going out, and then it just went to a hockey the pregame for the Stadium Series. Or no, it didn't go to no. Would it have been pregame? No, it would have been for the my apologies, for the Boston Pittsburgh game. And then the Stadium Series was on ESPN, not ABC. I don't know why. And it was delayed because the Alabama Tennessee game ran long. Granted, that was a great game. We'll get to that in a sec. But it's they just squeeze in the NHL when it's actually on ESPN or ABC. It's very poorly just format. And same thing with college basketball. College basketball, they need to learn 2 hours is not enough for a college basketball game anymore. If they want to get in 2 hours, you can't have 4 media timeouts a half. That needs to go away. The amount of time spent at the monitor late in game needs to go away. So that's where I get frustrated, where I see what a good job they do with the NBA. They have all these games. For the most part, they seem to figure out a way to start them on time. They have a daily show. So that's where with the NHL and college basketball, I get frustrated because the coverage is just not the same. I mean, half the time the college basketball halftime shows are just pre-recorded, and it's just focused on oh, okay, here's where Cooper Flag's gonna go in the NBA draft and mock draft stuff. It's no, analyze the game, please. And then NHL, yeah, there's just very little. I don't know. This guy I was beefing with was saying how well, they got all this money from it. I can watch every game, so there's no problem. You just like to complain. I was all right, well, good for you that you can watch every game, but you don't grow the game by putting your national TV games behind a paywall. And when they are on national TV, squeezing them out. And once again, good for you that you can watch every game. Blackhawks games, I still cannot watch. That's a whole fiasco. But that's enough of that. We're back to basketball. So First ESPN game of the weekend, like I said, a lot of good games on ESPN this weekend. First one, the Cavs come from behind, take down the Celtics 123 to 116. At one point, the Celtics in the first quarter, what was it here? 25-5. Was it ever bigger than that? I think it was, 25-3. The Celtics started this game up 25-3. And, I've said it, on this show, on Twitter. I just think the Eastern Conference is the Celtics to lose. I don't see the Cavs being better than the Celtics. So when I saw that, I was like, there you go. Once again, Cavs, good team. They're going to get the 1 seed, but I just don't think they can hang with the Celtics. Well, they proved me wrong because in the second half, they end up outscoring Boston. They held them to only, 42 points? 42 points. The Celtics scored 38 points in the first quarter alone, another 36 in the second. And then the entire second half, they were held to only 42 points. Meanwhile, Cleveland, they outscore them 38-36 in the second, and then outscore them, 59-42 in the second half. Come from behind, get a win. Donovan Mitchell was hitting big shots. Him and Tatum were both dealing. 41 for Mitchell, 46 for Tatum. It was one of those just back and forth, great games to watch. Mitchell, he went 5 of 12 from beyond the arc, so shot a really good percentage there. Had 5 assists as well. He was assisted, Garland had 20 points, his running mate, 7 assists from Garland as well in this one. Evan Mobley, 17 points, 12 rebounds, just feasting on the glass. So very good come from behind win from the Cavaliers. Like I said, so Tatum was leader 46, and Jaylen Brown also had 37. So like the Boston, big two, like they were getting theirs. They were doing it. But what really just kind of hurt Boston this game was just their lack of depth. There are 2 guys that actually played meaningful minutes off the bench, Luke Cornett and Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard was a minus 36 in this game, and Luke Cornett was a minus 26. So, like, when they had to give guys a breather, it just did not work. So that's really, kind of, I think, what Cleveland's going to have to lean on is that's why, they acquired a guy like DeAndre Hunter. He's a plus 21, had 12 points off the bench. Ty Jerome, he only had 8 points, was a plus 34. So, he was playing, some good D, playing, being a positive impact player. It's those Virginia guys, man, from that 2019 Virginia national title team. So, good win for the Cavs there. Like I said, that was one where I was like, this is over, 25-3. Like I said, Celtics, I just think, are the better team. But Cavs end up getting the win. They end up splitting the season series 2-2. Now, like I said, I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on this. I'm still just, after watching it, like I said, not taking anything away from the Cavs. Very nice win, very good win. I'm still, and this is just kind of my sentiment in sports. Like, I don't pick against the champ until I see them lose. For a long time, I had UConn as my number 1 team in college basketball at the start of the year. I was like, they've won the last 2 natties. Like, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Granted, then they got waxed in Maui. The Chiefs all year, like on any of my like NFL shows, like I've done individually, I've always just, or like, people just ask my pick. I said, I'm not betting against the Chiefs till they lose. Granted, lost the Super. So they did eventually lose, but that's kind of how I am with the Celtics here. I'm not betting against the Celtics till someone beats them. And just the way they walked through the Eastern Conference last year as well. They lost 2 games before the finals. If I forget if it was that. I know they for sure, Miami took 1 off of them. They swept Indy. Forget if who they played in the second round. I think it was the Cavs in the second round. It was the Cavs because the Pacers played the Knicks. Let me look this up here. 2024 NBA playoff. But yeah, I want to say they lost 2 games. They lost 2 games before the finals, and then win the finals in 5 games as well. So like they were just so dominant last year, where I just have a hard time. Okay, no, Cavs did take 1 off them as well. So it was 2. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It was, they won the first 2 rounds in 5, swept the conference finals. Granted, Indiana, played them competitively in a couple games. And then won the finals in 5 as well. So they just were so dominant last year. And you're still kind of seeing it at this point. They're still 42-18. Granted, Cavs 49-10. Cleveland's gonna win, 60 plus games this year. I don't think they're gonna win. They're obviously not gonna win 70. They'd have to go what is that? Like they're 21-2 the rest of the way. I don't see that. There was actually like a good part of this year people thought maybe they could, but yeah, I'd say probably not anymore. So I think Cleveland, they're still gonna be the 1 seed. They're still gonna win 60 plus games, probably 65 plus games. But I'm still probably just taking Boston. I mean, granted, maybe Cleveland gives them a tougher series where it is like a 6-7 game series, but I'm still taking Boston as my team to win out East. Just until I see someone beat them, I'm gonna have a hard time picking against them. So then we're gonna go out West. Like I said, I've already touched on the 1 seed, the Thunder there, and I could see the Thunder, winning the West. That wouldn't surprise me. But it also wouldn't surprise me who's now the 2 seed in the West after this weekend, after the sweeping their inner city rivals. Granted, don't share the same building anymore, so these were 2 like actual home games. The Lakers sweep the weekend series against the Clippers, first winning on Friday, 106-102. And then another, close win as well on Sunday by the final score of 108-102. So both very, very close games. Looking here, the Lakers, they've won now. What is it? Won 6 straight, 8-2 in their last 10. Red hot, once again, knocking off the Clippers. Both matchups. So first, we'll start here. Friday, they win 106-102 behind 31 points from Luka Doncic, and you can tell, man, he's fully comfortable here in LA. Like, he's locked in. It's the trade is definitely working out. He had 31 points in this one, 3 threes, 5 assists. LeBron also paired very well with him, 28 points, 13 rebounds for LeBron. And those 2 really were just kind of the guys. Everyone else, had like single digits. I mean, Austin Reeves was 6, Jackson Hayes with 5, Dorian Finney-Smith was 7 from the starters. Dalton Knecht was the leader off the bench with 8. I mean, that's kind of crazy. 8 points. He was their 3rd leading scorer in an NBA game. You don't see that very often. Sorry, I did not realize I didn't unmute myself. So good win there for the Lakers. On the Clippers side, Ivica Zubac was the leader with 27. I think you're going to see this where a lot of the bigs, just because that is where the Lakers lack depth, is you're going to see a lot of guys who, centers, big men who are putting up numbers against the Lakers. But if they can find a way to still neutralize them enough and get the scoring from Luka, get the scoring from LeBron, it's going to be harder to do in the playoffs. But we'll see. Maybe they figure something out here. I don't know. They've made it work this weekend. So play something from him. James Harden with 18, and then Kawhi Leonard with 21. So a couple of Clippers guys, still played pretty well, but Lakers get the win on Friday. It was one of those, kind of back and forth a little bit. Lakers were leading most of it. But in the second half, Clippers kind of came back, but it was never was like a close or a blowout. Looking here, it was always pretty close. But then, the Clippers finally started taking the lead a little bit here in the third quarter before the Lakers once again, outscored them. Or no, they actually didn't outscore them in the fourth quarter. They got outscored by a bucket, but by then it was over. They'd had a big enough lead at halftime. So good win for the Lakers on Friday night. And then just kind of looking, largest lead. Both teams did have a double-digit lead at one point, but still, like I said, it always just felt like pretty close. Like felt like there was going to be an answer, and there was. And then on Sunday, once again, late last night, Lakers once again 108-102 victory. Luka Doncic once again was the leading scorer, this time with 29. And then LeBron only had 17, finished 1 point shy of what was it, 50,000? Yeah, 50,000 career points. Granted, he has, including playoffs, play-in, has already hit that number. But yeah, so 1 point, or I'm sorry, that was his including playoffs. But if you include the play-in, which oddly for some reason, like those stats just kind of get lost in the abyss now. I don't know why. I feel like the NBA's got to figure something out with that, where there's like play-in leaders. Like, I'm fine if you don't want to count it towards playoff stats, but like have a play-in stats or like I guess you could even include like the in-season tournament, like championship game in that. Like games that technically are like not exhibitions, but they don't have like effect on the standings and they're not playoff games kind of thing. Like non-standings games or something. Because I guess it's technically not a playoff. I mean, kind of is, but it's not a playoff game. It is something separate. But so Luka with 29 points, and 9 assists. LeBron, 17 points for him, 9 assists as well. Dorian Finney-Smith did get into double digits that game with 11 points. And then Dalton Knecht had a big game off the bench. 19 points for him, 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. On the Clippers side, Sunday, Kawhi Leonard was the leader with 33. Zubac only had 12, and he was a minus 17. So Lakers did a lot better job neutralizing him. Also only held him to 9 rebounds. Harden only had 13, was minus 18 as well. So they did it. Lakers did a good job of kind of neutralizing some of the other guys that beat him more on Sunday or on Friday. Neutralizing more on Sunday. Chris Dunn did have a good game. He actually, I was a fan of watching him play. He had 15 points. Had a couple steals, I believe. What was it? Oh, he only won some. I'm thinking Friday. Friday had a bunch of steals. So good game for him as well. But yeah, the Lakers are now all the way up to the 2 seed. So let's do that. I like doing that every kind of week here, showing the standings. I think that's a good just kind of to look at every week. So let's see here. Add to stay. Beautiful. All right. So looking here. We got to scroll back to the top. My apologies. All right, Eastern Conference. Like I said, Cavs still in first. They're now 50-10. We did have some games end already here tonight. So that might be, or no, I'm sorry, they played again. That's why. So they're 50-10. First team to reach 50 wins on the season. Just beating out OKC. So 50-10. Boston in second, 43-18. They're 7-5. 10 straight wins for the Cavs as well. So they're just making that lead grow even more. It's kind of crazy. I mean, Boston's playing well. They're 7-3 of their last 10, but the lead just keeps expanding for Cleveland. Why? Like I said, I think they're going to finish out with the 1 seed. Then Knicks in third. They, picked it up after last weekend. I was kind of saying, not a great weekend for the Knicks. I don't know if they're up there in that tier. Well, they responded well. They're now 7-3 in their last 10, 3 straight wins. Had a couple good wins on the weekend as well. So good weekend for the Knicks. They're in third. Bucks are in fourth, 34-25, 7-3 in their last 10 as well. Indiana, they're in fifth, 34-25, so tied with the Bucks, but 6-4 in their last 10. So Milwaukee has now passed them from last week. And then Detroit still hooping 9-1. Denver did finally knock them off on Friday. That was honestly one I should have put in my games to watch. I felt a little bad not putting it in there. But they're in sixth, 34-27. They're very clearly going to be a playoff team, not a play-in, a playoff team, which just after how bad they were last year is just quite remarkable. Then in the play-in, you got Miami 28-31, then Orlando 29-33. Jalen Suggs gonna be out for a while for them with trochlea injury, something like that. I was listening to that, did read that today. I'm gonna be honest, not a doctor, don't fully understand that, but he's gonna be out for a little bit. Hawks are in 9th, 27-33. And then the Bulls still in 10th, 24-37, but 2-8 in their last 10. They are really trying hard to get rid of that 10 seed. Outside looking in here, Sixers 21-38, 1-9, but have one straight game after winning on Saturday. Much needed victory. Then you got the Nets, half game behind them at 21-39. And then Raptors, Hornets, Wizards, nowhere near. They're capturing the flag. One of them is going to hope to capture the flag. Then going out west, like I mentioned, OKC still in first, 49-11. They are currently down 33-30 at time of recording here. Chet Holmgren, I missed a free throw. I got that on right below me here. And then the Lakers are now all the way up to second. Like I said, 6 straight wins, 8-2 their last 10, 38-21 on the year. They surpassed Denver, who's now 39-22. Celtics bounced back, got a good one against Denver yesterday. So I originally picked Boston to go 2-0 on the weekend, but Cleveland surprised them. But knock off Denver, like I said, would not surprise me if that's a potential NBA Finals preview. But we're running a little bit long here, so I want to get to some college rather than touch on that game. Memphis in fourth at 38-22. Rockets in fifth at 37-23. And then the Clippers in sixth, 32-28. All those teams, 4-6, 5-5. Not playing as well lately, but looking more likely. We might get some of these series I was hoping for with, I was hoping for a Memphis-Houston. I was thinking that was more going to be like a 2-7 matchup. Now it could be the 4-5 due to Lakers being hot, but we'll see. Golden State is also tied with the Clippers, but is currently in 7th, also 32-28, 7-3 in their last 10. And then Minnesota in 8th, 33-29, 4-6 in their last 10. It's not great. Sacramento in 9th, 31-28, 6-4 in the last 10 with 3 straight wins. And then Dallas in 10, 32 and 29, 6-4 in their last 10. So at least as of right now, all 10 teams in the West that are in playoff play-in position are over 500, unlike the East where it's only the playoff teams and all the play-in teams are under 500. So, and then teams outside looking in right now, we got Phoenix at 28 and 33, 2-8 in their last 10, not playing good ball. I mean, Portland's only a game behind Phoenix. That's a team that's like tanking, not trying to. I guess they're not fully tanking, but not expect to be a playoff team, and they're now a game behind a team that talent-wise should be like a championship contender, but obviously, the way that roster is constructed, they're not. Then we got San Antonio 25 and 34, New Orleans, Utah out of the mix. So that's going to wrap up the NBA. If you guys have any other last takes on the NBA before we switch over here to college, make sure to drop them. Kind of looking ahead, we can look ahead here at some of the games to watch during the week this week as well while I let you guys get those last takes. And like I said, this Rockets Thunder game, I'm excited to watch the rest of after we get off the show here. TNT doubleheader tomorrow. We got the Warriors and Knicks in the Garden. Steph in the Garden, always a lot of fun to watch. So that should be a good one, followed by Clippers and Suns. Like I said, can the Suns, turn it around? They got to start beating some of these teams, win some of these games, or make the playoffs. So, solid games there. Nothing really else too notable. I mean, Philly, Minnesota, if the teams are actually playing their potential could be interesting. Maybe that or probably Bucks Hawks would be my league pass games to watch. Actually, Rocket Pacers should be a good one as well at 7 Eastern on league pass. The Wednesday ESPN doubleheader, we got Heat Cavs. That's another one. You were kind of hoping the Heat would be better. We got Mavs and Bucks once again. Kings Nuggets, 2 playoff teams. And then the second game of the ESPN doubleheader, Thunder Grizzlies. That should be a good one. Excited for that one. Even later, we got Pistons at Clippers. That could be potentially a good kind of cross-conference battle as well. On Thursday, for the doubleheader, we got Sixers at Celtics. Jeez, there are just all sorts of games of teams that kind of disappointed this year. Sixers, Celtics, then Knicks, Lakers. Knicks, Lakers should be a good one too. Two teams that are, both top 2, top 3 in their respective conferences. So those should be some good ones there. All right, so now let's move on to the college game. Once again, AP poll came out today. I think that's probably the best place to start with college. Kind of just gives us, an open runway here on kind of where we can take this. So once again, we have Auburn at the number 1 team in the country, clinched the SEC regular season title with their win at Kentucky this weekend. Their first time winning at Kentucky since 1988. Duke, they are second once again, 26 and 3, but have beat those Auburn Tigers. Do you want to keep reminding you guys of that? So Duke up 26 and 3. They won again tonight against Wake Forest, is absolutely killing them. So their final game of the regular season will be at North Carolina on Saturday. That'll be a big one for the Tar Heels, one they really need to win if they're going to make the tournament. Then up a spot, we have Houston in third. They're 25 and 4. I believe they're currently live with Kansas. Let me see if I can get that one on quick here, or at least check a score. We got Kansas actually up by 2 on Houston. That game's in Houston, so that'll definitely be another one I'm watching once I finish here. Tennessee also up a spot, 24 and 5. One at the buzzer beater on a buzzer beater against Alabama. We'll talk about that one in a sec. Then we got Florida in 5th, down 2 spots. St. John's jumps up another spot to now 6th. Rick Pitino got them boys rolling. Alabama dropped down a spot to 7th. Like I mentioned, did lose over the weekend. Michigan State remains at 8th. They, really tough stretch for them, but they completed going 5-0. Good win against Wisconsin on Sunday yesterday, and then won on a buzzer beater at Maryland earlier in the week. So good one for them. Texas Tech up a spot to 9th, and then Iowa State drops down a spot to 10th, but Iowa State did knock off Arizona, got revenge from Caleb Love's crazy buzzer beater early in the season. Clemson now up to 11th, another ACC team up there. They're 24 and 5, and you're sneaky having a really good year. I mean, that's a team that went to the Elite 8 a year ago, went on a bit of a run. Kind of got overshadowed by their other counterpart, NC State, in their conference going on a deep run. But, Clemson, Brad Brownell's got them boys playing well. Ian Scheffel and the chef's still there. Wisconsin down one spot after their loss to 12th. Maryland up 3 spots despite their loss midweek, but did win on the weekend. They're now 13th. Louisville 14th, up 5 spots. Big risers. They're another kind of underrated team that not a lot of people are talking about. Granted, did kind of get their breaks beat off earlier in the season by Tennessee, but in ACC play, they've been really dominant. Pat Kelsey doing a really good job there. Missouri down 1 spot, 15th. Memphis up 2 spots to 16th. Michigan is down 2 spots. They lost by 20 to Illinois yesterday. Purdue's 18th, up 2 spots. Kentucky dropped 2 spots, following their loss to now 19th. Marquette up a spot to 20th. St. Mary's, love to see, the mid-majors getting some love there. The Gales are now 21st, clinched the 1 seed in the WCC. That tournament starts late this week, but like the WCC is one of those where they have a lot of buys. We did tweet out that bracket. So St. Mary's, in the semifinals, most likely going to get matched up against Gonzaga in the finals like most years. So excited for that one. Texas A&M's a big dipper, down 10 spots. They've lost 4 straight games, 0-2 week once again this week. So tough week there for the Aggies. BYU up a spot to 23rd. Arizona drops 2 spots, 24th, and Mississippi State drops a spot to 25th. So those are the rankings there. I will be tweeting out my rankings tomorrow. I meant to do it last week, just did not get around to it. I was a little busy, but tomorrow I will have my rankings out from this past week for sure. So yes, let's start here with this Alabama-Tennessee game. Probably ended up being the game of the week. Like I said, I was complaining about it a little bit that it was, kind of pushing the hockey game, but honestly, this game, it was worth it. So Tennessee knocks off Alabama 79-76 on Jemai Mashak's, deep three, kind of not quite a half court, like in front of half court, but definitely a heave. I mean, you could see it, like rewatching that one. Rick Barnes was definitely like trying to call a timeout. He did not want that to be the shot. He wanted to draw up a better play, but the refs didn't give him the timeout. And you can see, like, he gets angry when the ball gets released. He's like, I'm trying to call a timeout. Well, it goes in. It was worth it. They didn't call that timeout. Tennessee gets a win. These two teams are really battling out for a 1 seed. It's going to kind of come down to, I think at this point, however, Houston's now up 3 at the half. I think Duke, Auburn, like 1 seed's pretty much locked in. It would take something crazy for those two teams to not be 1 seeds. And honestly, now I think kind of Houston's emerging as that third 1 seed. So it's going to kind of come down to, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida. Which one of those 3 SEC teams is going to get a 1 seed? And then, it's also one of those, like, you want to get that 1 seed to avoid, like, whoever doesn't get it, they're going to have to play like Duke. They're going to play Duke and Houston. Tough teams to play. Grant, I guess maybe those are better teams to play than Auburn, but you want to just get a 1 seed to avoid those teams as well. Because if a 2 seed, if you're an SEC 2 seed, you're not going to get put with an SEC 1 seed. So it's really going to become very, very critical for one of those teams, for whoever gets the 1 seed there. Chaz Lanier and Jordan Gainey both had 18 points for the Volunteers in this one. Zakai Ziegler had 15 as well. And like I mentioned, Jemai Mashak, game winner, 11 points, 6 rebounds for him. Only took 1 3 all game and he hit it. So it was a big shot for him. So very big win for the Volunteers here. On the Alabama side, Mark Sears was the leader with 24. But other than that, nothing really too notable. LeBaron Philon had 13. And then 11 off the bench from Aiden Holloway. But yeah, nothing really crazy. I mean, Grant Nelson had 7 points, 12 rebounds, but not a great shooting night from him. I mean, Cliff Amore, 5 points for him on 5 shots. Like, that's, they need a little bit better big play from Alabama if they're going to win games like this. I mean, Chris Youngblood, a starter, only had 2 points. Grant only took 4 shots, but only had 2 points. So, not a great game from a lot of the Crimson Tide. Definitely disappointing, especially, they were in that game, very easily could have won that game. Probably like we're the better team from a lot of what I'm hearing for a majority of the game, but just didn't put it away. So Tennessee gets the W. Then touching on quickly here, another one that I mentioned, Auburn wins in Rupp Arena first time since 1988, clinches the outright SEC title after Tennessee's win as well. 94-78 win for the Tigers in this one. They're led by Miles Kelly scoring 31 points. Freshman Tahad Pettiford also had 21 off the bench. And then Chad Baker-Mazar, really good game for him, 22 points for him as well. I mean, Janai Broom only had 9 points, on 9 shots too, so not the greatest game for him, but just the fact that Auburn just has all these different guys who can, score the ball. Like, just so many options. They also just play good defense. They're going to be a really tough team to beat. Like I said, I really think it's going to be them or Duke who win the national title. I really hope they're on opposite sides of the bracket so we can get a rematch in the national title game. Auburn 27-2 on the year. Like I said, only lost to Duke and then Florida, who I think is a really good team. But I do think, Auburn and Duke, I do just kind of think they're a step above everyone else. Dylan Cardwell became the winningest player in Auburn basketball history. He didn't even score in this game. He didn't take a shot. He's a starter, didn't take a shot. That's what I'm just saying. Just the amount of different guys that make an impact in different ways for Auburn. It's just very impressive. Kentucky. All right, this was crazy here. FanDuel was posting, was it a mistake to hire Mark Pope? And the sports book, social media accounts just make me so mad. They're doing their job because it's literally half their posts now are just rage bait posts. It's just rage bait and Hail Mary plays that someone, somehow hit. So then it's like, oh yeah, gamble more. So don't get me started there. But they're like, was it a mistake to hire Mark Pope? No, it was not. But Kentucky's now suffered their 10th loss on the season. They're 8-8 in conference. This is just they just weren't. Auburn was just a better team. Kentucky just can't hang with Auburn if I'm being brutally honest. So that was really, kind of the big takeaway for me. Kobe Brea had 21 in this game. He's the leader. Kentucky's also not going to be out without Jackson Robinson for the rest of the year. So that's a big blow for them. So this Kentucky team, it's going to be a process. I know, early in the season, all these Kentucky fans are going crazy. I mean, they beat Duke. They're like, oh, we're way ahead of schedule. No, let's slow your roll a little bit. Grant, are they better than Calipari and Arkansas? Yes, I think it was good. It was a good move. It was the right time for Calipari to go. I mean, granted, Calipari did then walk in their trap and beat them, but which that wasn't a great loss. But Arkansas took an even worse loss this weekend to South Carolina. Arkansas most likely won't be a tournament team anymore. Kentucky will still be a tournament team. And if they win a game, that'll be better than last year. Honestly, I mean, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago when it was St. Peter's. I forget what they did in between. I think they might have missed the tournament or something. I can't remember. But yeah, so I think this season for Kentucky, it's a step in the right direction. Are they a national championship contender? No. Do I think it's probably going to take a couple of years for that? Yeah, it's probably going to take. I don't think it's going to be immediate. So, Mark Pope was not a mistake, disaster hire by any means. Or if he was, you can't just base that off of this year. I just think that narrative is just ridiculous. I would not go that far if I was a Kentucky fan. That's just ridiculous to me. Looking at some other notable results here. Texas Tech winning to Kansas, took down the Jayhawks 78-73. Honestly, that's a team I'd be way more disappointed. I mean, the same record as Kentucky. And the Big 12 is not an easy league, but it's not the SEC. And just the amount of NIL money on guys like AJ Storr, Zeke Mayo. Granted, all the stuff that Zeke Mayo posted, that stuff's just despicable. I'm sorry. If you as a fan message a player on your team the stuff that got sent to Zeke Mayo, you're not a fan. No. Please just stop watching because you should not be able to. Just that stuff was just disgusting. There's no place for that in basketball. I do just have to say that. It was kind of weird. Bill Self's statement, he released a statement, but it was kind of more just about the loss and trying to deflect it onto him, but really didn't address that stuff, which doesn't sit great with me. I wish he would have come out and said something a little bit more. Maybe I don't know. He thought it was better to not mention it and not give those people the public satisfaction. But yeah, that just didn't sit right with me. But I would say for Kansas being 19-10 after being the preseason number 1 team is a lot more disappointing than Kentucky, who had to essentially build a roster from zero. JT Tobin had a good game for the Red Raiders in that one, 21 points for him. He's kind of their their leader. He's going to be a really fun player to watch in March. Darion Williams had 14 and then 15 from Christian Anderson off the bench. I mean, Texas Tech, they're a team that honestly, I think they're kind of underrated. I feel like they don't get talked about as much as they should. I mean, they beat Houston at Houston this year. A team that's going to be a number 1 seed. They're missing some guys when they lost to Houston the second time around, like at home. So Texas Tech, there'd be a team. They're a team I'd like watch out for. I really should have let me pull it up really quick. Bracket matrix here. Is it like a good, kind of it factors in a bunch of like bracketologists, which I like rather than just like I like Lenardi. I think he's pretty good. Jared Palm, I don't think is very great for CBS, but there also is just so many like people on Twitter, like so many good bracketologists that I like to, I think like having a good mix of them rather than just referencing one works. So currently they have Texas Tech as like the 3rd 3 seed. I think Texas Tech, like they'd be a team like I would not want to face. If I'm like a Wisconsin, I do not want to face a Texas Tech kind of thing. I don't know if Wisconsin has the guys to stay with a Texas Tech. Like Kentucky's a 3 seed as well. Like if I have to choose between Kentucky or Texas Tech, I'd much rather play Kentucky. I think Texas Tech, very underrated team. Would definitely watch out for them come March. Vanderbilt got another upset win. I mean, that's a team. Mark Binghamton, their coach, is doing a really good job this year. They upset Missouri. It's like their 3rd like ranked upset win here in the SEC this year. Missouri's a good team as well, but they just did not close this one out. Like they were up. Yeah, they gave up 52 points the second half. Just can't have that happen. Up 9 at halftime. Mark Mitchell's a really good player for them. He had 20 points. Tamar Bates had 16 as well. Those two guys are really solid. And then Caleb Grill. How can I forget Caleb Grill? Didn't start in this one, but played 39 minutes, had 28 points. Like he's a bucket. Those are two, Mark Mitchell and Caleb Grill, really good tandem for Missouri. Definitely would watch them. And then Chris Mannon was the leader for Vanderbilt with 23 points. So big win for the Commodores there. Like I said, they've now gotten a couple of those. They're 8-8 in conference. They're gonna have like a pretty decent seed. We'll see. Maybe they knock off one of these teams that is kind of got their sights set on the NCAA tournament rather than the SEC tournament. Houston knocked off Cincinnati 73-64. Like I said, they're playing right now. Iowa State 84-67 win for them. Good win there. Taman Limpsey was their leader with 15 points and 8 assists. Kind of looking through here quickly. Anyone else of note? Milan Momcilovic, he was out earlier in the year, but now he's back. He had 17 points on 4 or 7 from beyond the arc. He can really shoot it. Keyshawn Gilbert, Taman Limpsey, really good backcourt duo for Iowa State. They're, a team that I could see going deep in March as well. They're definitely one to watch out for. Kind of looking what else here. Clemson with a good win. Maryland, was close against Penn State, but a 68-64 victory for them. Anything else? Oh, let's go to Sunday. Sunday, there's always like better Big Ten games on Sunday. So like I said, Michigan State knocked off Wisconsin 71-62. And then Illinois 93-73 win over Michigan. A lot of people were kind of shitting on Illinois after Duke beat them by 40 last weekend. Now for them to come back and do what they did, pretty impressive. So I don't think they're this horrible team people are making them out to be. Granted, Michigan I think has been punching a little bit above their weight. I mean, they got Vlad Golden, Danny Wolf, two really good players. I mean, Golden had 22 points in this one, but they wouldn't be a team that, if they get matched up against one of these better mid-major teams, I could see Michigan being a first weekend exit for sure. So we've ran a little long here, so I think I'm just going to wrap it up rather than kind of deep diving into those games. But yeah, March is here, fellas. This is my favorite time of the year. Really good time for hoops. So I'm really excited to talk about it here on the Fast Break. So make sure you're subscribed to the Variety Sports Network on YouTube and following us here on Twitter or X. Like I said, every Monday, 9 Eastern, we'll see. Maybe have to like switch it up to get some people on. I was talking to some people I'm trying to get on, some buddies, talk some college ball with me. But yeah, for right now, 9 Eastern every Monday. Fast Break Twitter, follow us there as well. Me and some of the other admins are trying to be more active on that account, post more stuff. Like I said, a lot of the conference tournament brackets when they come out, we're gonna post them there. So yeah, follow me, Shoot Durock. A lot of basketball takes for me coming this month. So I appreciate y'all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next Monday. Peace.